Geoverse Part 1 To Friend is Human by GeodesicDragon. Chapter 9 What Once Was Lost. 9 months had passed since I first came to Equestria. I had enjoyed every second of my time here, but the fact that I had been with Twilight for 6 of those months made it all the better. Our relationship was stronger than ever, and I was proud to be part of everyday life in Ponyville. I helped Applejack to harvest her crops, I helped Fluttershy with the animals, I helped Rainbow Dash with the Cloud Patrol by pointing at clouds, I helped Pinkie Pie bake and eat various sugary goodies, and I helped Rarity with her stitching by holding things she needed or acting as a mannequin. I was content with my life. I had friends who cared about me and whom I cared about in return. But above all else I had Twilight, and as far as I was concerned nothing else mattered but them and her. "I got you something," said Twilight as I was carrying a bucket of apples to the barn. The harvest was bountiful this year, and Applejack was happy to have the extra help. "Oh?" I said, my interest piqued. "What did you get me?" "Put the apples down and I'll show you," Twilight replied. I took the apples into the barn and emptied the bucket. I went outside to see Twilight holding a small box in her magical aura. "What's this?" I asked. "Open it and see," she said as she passed the box over. I opened the box to find a gold necklace. I took out the box and saw that there was a pendant attached, which was decorated with Twilight's cutie mark and the words, "My heart is yours." "It's beautiful," I said as I wiped away a tear, "though I now feel like a complete and total jackass." "Why?" "Because I haven't got anything for you," I said glumly. "That's all right," Twilight replied. "You'll get me something eventually, I know you will." I nodded, and with Twilight's help I put the pendant around my neck. It was a perfect fit, not that I was expecting it not to be. "Perfect," said Twilight. "Now I'll go and let you get back to work. I don't think Applejack would like it if she caught you taking a break before you were due one." "It's fine by me, Twilight," came a southern accent from the barn door. Twilight and I turned round to see Applejack standing with a big smile on her face. "How long have you been standing there?" I asked her. "Long enough, Sugar Cube," she replied with a wink. "I've said it before, but I'll say it again. Y'all make a fine couple, and that necklace is so gosh darn lovely." I smiled and gave Twilight a hug. "I've got a great life, a lovely mare, great friends, and now a lovely necklace," I grinned. "What could be better?" I gave Twilight a peck on the cheek, causing her to giggle. "Y'all can save that for later," said Applejack sternly, albeit with a smile. "In the meantime, we've got apples to harvest, so get to it." "Yes, ma'am," I said and returned to the orchard. Applejack watched Geo go before addressing Twilight. "You really care for him, don't ya?" she asked. Twilight sighed contentedly. "Yes, more than anything." She paused. "But that doesn't mean I don't care about my friends as well." Applejack laughed. "I know you love us, Twi," she said, "but I also know why you love him too. I'm so happy for the two of you." Twilight smiled. "Thanks, Applejack," she replied, giving her friend a hug. "I'd better go and see how Spike is getting on." "All right, Twi, I'll see you later," Applejack said. With a flash, Twilight teleported away. Watching her leave, Geo returned to his work in the orchard, once again glad to have found a new life. A few days later I was at the library helping Twilight and Spike reorganize the shelves. We had done it 3 times already, but Twilight seemed happy with our current attempt, much to Spike's immense relief. "Finally!" he groaned as I put the last book back in its place. "We're done. Now can we please get some lunch?" "Sure thing, Spike," replied Twilight. "I think I can work with it like this." She looked around at the books. "Good." Spike sighed and flopped down on the sofa. "What does every pony want for lunch?" I asked, grabbing my sack of bits from the table. "My treat." "I'll have a daisy sandwich, please," replied Twilight. "Gemstone salad for me, please," Spike said, licking his lips. "All right, I'll be back shortly." I kissed Twilight and opened the door to leave. Suddenly Spike belched, and a flash of green light from behind me caused me to shut the door in alarm. I wheeled around to see a scroll hovering in the air. "It's just a letter from the princess," said Twilight. "It's nothing to worry about." She unfolded the scroll and began reading. "Dear Twilight Sparkle, I need to see you and the other element bearers immediately. A chariot has been dispatched to Ponyville and will be with you shortly. It is imperative that you all get here as quickly as you can. Princess Celestia. P.S. I'm sorry, but Geo cannot attend this meeting." Once she finished reading the letter, Twilight destroyed it. "Princess Celestia wants to see me right away, Spike," she said. "I'm sorry, Geo, but lunch will have to wait." Spike groaned. "Okay," I replied. "I'll just get my jacket and—" "Sorry, but the letter said you couldn't attend. Only myself and the other element bearers." "Must be serious," I said. "Don't worry, I understand. You go." There was a knock at the door. I opened it to find a couple of royal guards standing there. "Twilight's here," I told them. "She'll just be a moment." As if on cue, Twilight appeared. Her friends had already been rounded up and were waiting in the chariot with confused looks etched upon their faces. Twilight kissed me and climbed into the chariot. "I'll be back soon," she said as the guards took off. "I know," I replied, waving at the disappearing chariot. "I know." I turned round to face Spike. "No reason why we can't get any lunch," I said to him. "Let's go." Arriving in Canterlot, Twilight and the others were ushered into the throne room, where a nervous Celestia was pacing up and down. "Princess," said Twilight as the group was brought in. "We got here as quickly as we could." "I'm glad you are all here," Celestia said darkly. "A threat has arisen in Equestria, and I felt that only the elements of harmony can stop it." "It's not Discord again, is it?" Dash said with a sigh. "No, Rainbow Dash," replied Celestia, "though I'm afraid it has the potential to be much worse than that." "Worse than Discord?" Rainbow's jaw hit the floor. Twilight approached Celestia and gently nuzzled her. "I'm sorry, Twilight," she said gently. "I'm sorry for what I'm about to ask of you." "I will do whatever is necessary to protect Equestria," Twilight replied, a serious tone to her voice. "Now, what's the threat?" Celestia's face fell. "It turns out," she said, "that an old enemy I thought defeated is anything but, and now I fear they are here for revenge." She looked at the elements and sighed. "The humans have returned." The element bearers stood in shocked silence. Twilight was the first to speak. "But how is that possible?" she asked. "I thought they all died in their last battle against Equestria?" "So did I, Twilight," Celestia said. "Perhaps there were some who refused to fight us?" "But that's good, isn't it?" asked Rainbow Dash. "If they didn't fight, then that means they're friendly, right?" "If they were friendly," Celestia groaned, "then they wouldn't have attacked a supply convoy going to Appaloosa." "Appaloosa?" Applejack gasped. "I've got family down there." "It's okay, Applejack," Celestia said calmly. "None of the ponies pulling the convoy were hurt. The humans only seemed interested in the supplies it was carrying." "What do you want us to do?" asked Twilight. "The ponies with the convoy told me that the humans retreated into the Everfree Forest. That is where they must be camping. Ordinarily, I would send the Royal Guard to deal with threats like this. However, it has been many years since we last crossed paths with the humans like this. I am hoping that they are still open to negotiations, which is why I'm sending you 6. But what could we possibly do?" squeaked Fluttershy from behind her hoofs. "They haven't hurt any pony," Celestia replied, "so I don't think they're as hostile as their predecessors. To send the military against them if they are trying to be friendly wouldn't be a very good idea. Who better to send than the 6 ponies who embody the very values of friendship?" The 6 friends nodded. "I want the 6 of you to go to their camp and extend an offer of friendship towards them," Celestia continued. "As the bearers of the elements of harmony, you are more than qualified to do this." "And what if they refuse?" asked Rarity. "What if they attack us?" She put a hoof to her forehead dramatically. "Then you are to use the elements of harmony to drive them back to where they came from." Celestia shook her head. "Though I am hoping it will not come to that."
"Sounds like a plan," said Rainbow Dash. "When do we leave?"
"Immediately," replied Celestia. "The chariot will take you where you need to go."
"Shouldn't we bring Geo with us?"
asked Twilight.
"He's a human, so he can vouch for our offer of friendship being genuine."
"I'm sorry, Twilight," replied Celestia, "but he cannot know of this. I fear the worst for him if these humans see him. They might view him as a traitor or a spy and attack."
"Okay, Princess," Twilight said glumly. "I accept your judgment."
"I will tell him that you will be away for a while," Celestia said, giving Twilight a hug. "He won't worry about you."
"Thank you, Princess,"
said Twilight. She pulled away from the hug and nodded to the others. The 6 mares went over to the box the elements of harmony were stored in and put on their respective one. Once ready, they boarded the waiting chariot and set off for the human camp. Celestia watched them go. "Good luck, girls, and be safe," she said, holding back tears. "Equestria's safety lies with you." Spike and I were in Sugar Cube Corner, 2 empty plates in front of us. I stifled a belch and turned to the 2 ponies behind the counter. Spike had curled up on the seat and gone to sleep.
"Great pancakes as usual, Mr. and Mrs. Cake,"
I beamed, throwing them a few bits.
"And I think Spike enjoyed his sapphire cupcake."
"Thank you for the compliment," said Mrs. Cake.
"My pleasure," I said as I stood up,
scooping Spike into my arms and rolling my eyes as he mumbled something about Rarity. "I've got to get this one home. See you later."
"Goodbye, Geo,"
Mr. Cake said as he and his wife waved. Stepping out into the Ponyville market square, I took a deep breath and surveyed the area. "I love this place," I said to myself. I got back to the library and tucked Spike into his bed before going onto the balcony and looking at the view. Turning my head skyward, I watched the birds flying past, each of them tweeting away. But then I saw something else. Celestia's chariot. "Oh, good," I said to myself. "Twilight and the girls are back." I stood and waited for the chariot to land. I could still see it flying high above Ponyville. It was then that I noticed that it wasn't losing altitude. In fact, it was going past Ponyville altogether, towards the Everfree Forest.
"What the—"
I wondered.
"Why in the hell are they going into that creepy place?"
I rushed downstairs and opened the door. Scanning the sky, I caught sight of the chariot again and began to follow it.
"If they're going in there,"
I thought,
"then something dangerous must be lurking within."
I broke into a run.
"And I'll be damned if I let my friends face it without me."